It's mornings in the kitchen with the dough, 5-0. It's mornings in the kitchen with the dough, and 5-0.
All right, Joe, how's it going?
It's going well, Lee. How's it going for you?
Tired.
I'll
Man,
bet you are.
tired.
How long of a drive was that?
It was probably around, 7.5, 8 hours with the pit stops with the kids. So for those of you that didn't know, I was on vacation for about the last week and a half. I go back to work tomorrow. Took the family to Eastern Tennessee. Well, we were in two different places, actually. We went to see my dad. He lives in North Carolina. And after being there for 2 or 3 days, we went to East Tennessee.
Tennessee.
And we had a great time.
I saw the pictures.
Yeah.
That great looking view. That looked very relaxing.
Yeah, we had a couple different cabins. The first one was way, way high up in the mountains, and
that looked a little scary.
It was a terrifying ride up there. I thought we were driving up to see Jesus or something. It was. I don't know how those people make that drive on a regular basis. I don't know. It was crazy.
Well, they're drunk, aren't they?
They do like their moonshine. In East
I would
Tennessee.
imagine that's why.
So we went to mostly in the Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge areas, and especially in Gatlinburg, they have several distillery shops down there, and they have a lot of product for sale at $25 to $30 per mason jar, but they also have all of these places have these huge like taste testing bar areas set up. So for like Old Smoky Mountain, I believe, is the biggest manufacturer down there of legal moonshine making, and they have this huge bar area set up, and for $5 per person, you can stand there and do a bunch of taste testing.
Get drunk, yeah.
Basically, yes, you can get just completely knocked off your rocker, taste testing all of this moonshine, but. Man, just on that alone, they've got to be making a killing because, we popped in and out of these different ones to see what they had and kind of check things out. And it was just, people were completely wrapped around this thing. It was quite impressive. So at $5 a pop, they're making a lot of money there, not to count what they're making off of, the mason jars and the merchandise that they sell for hats and shirts and stuff like that.
And I imagine the more you drink, the more you'll buy.
That's probably their theory,
Yeah.
We'll give you these little thimble-sized cups of 100 proof whiskey and moonshine, and you down a few of those and you're feeling pretty good about yourself, and you just go ahead and hand your credit card over and take off from there. So.
I ever told you my moonshine story?
I don't think so.
When I was in California, a friend of mine, Rock Lies,
If you smell what the rock is cooking,
was his name. He was from Tennessee.
Rock Lies?
Rock Lies he's a big boy, real big boy. And he wanted to ride down to the post office in the Presidio, and we had a post office in our barracks. And I said, well, why did you have it shipped down there? He said, well, that you'll see.
Mm-hmm.
So we go down there. We drive down there. He gets this little cardboard box, and it's packed really well. He opens it up. We're driving back to base, and he pulls out this mason jar. It was the most redneck thing I'd ever seen in my life. And I just kind of laughed. I thought, this is a stereotypical Tennessean pulling out some moonshine from the mail. So he opens it up. I never had moonshine. I'm from Green Bay, and we drink a lot of beer,
mm-hmm.
and we drink other things too. It's mostly beer, and you drink a lot of it. So he opens up this mason jar. He takes this huge drink of it. Big smile across his face. That's the smoothest stuff I've ever had, he said. So he asked if I wanted some. Of course I want some.
Right.
Hell yeah, I want some. So he hands it to me. I'm driving. Okay, I have that Camaro that you see in the
mm-hmm.
garage. That's the car I bought down there. And so it's a 5-speed on the floor, and in San Francisco. Of course, the roads are crazy. They're
Joe's cat just attacked me. You notice the difference in the audio there.
Yeah, lots of hills, lots of curves, everything else. So I'm trying to navigate all this stuff, and he hands me the moonshine. I take a big drink because I saw him take a big drink.
Mm-hmm.
Bad idea. I could not. I hand it back to him. I couldn't breathe. He's laughing his ass off. I finally was able to pull over and catch my breath. That was my first experience of moonshine. Of course, it didn't stop me from trying it again. I was just a lot more careful after that.
So I don't recall what day it was that we initially walked into one of those for the first time, but we went into, I believe it was Old Smoky was the first one we went into, and we bought one mason jar of, it was the apple pie moonshine. You know, Sarah and I we like apple pie. What the heck? We did not spend the money on the taste testing, and we just decided to walk out with that. So after the night kind of winded down and everything, we decided to take a drink of this apple pie moonshine, and it burnt all the way down to my toes, and I tasted nothing that tasted like apple pie in there.
No.
But you know, that doesn't stop you from, like, you know, you just keep drinking it thinking, well, there's got to be the flavor in there somewhere, right?
Eventually, I'll taste apple pie.
Right. So more of a mental thing.
Care. And
So we ended up getting a few different flavors from different places down there. We haven't tried anything else since that first night, but
you know, it's kind of like coffee. I've been to a lot of different coffee places, and they'll say, well, it was grown near these blueberry fields, so there's this hint of blueberry. Have you ever tasted anything but coffee?
and
In coffee.
well, I think what I have noticed, and I've been playing with different ways I do coffee now. I'd like to try and get away from the sugar that you give me a hard time about. Today I've just got creamer in it, but I've noticed, like, I've got a flavored coffee in here today, and it's Snickerdoodle, very manly Snickerdoodle.
Oh, Lord.
But I've noticed,
April DeRozier, I hope you're listening to this right now.
but don't beat me up, April. Okay? But I've noticed that just with creamer in it, I don't taste anything but coffee. That's all it tastes like to me is coffee.
Right.
When I use half and half, it tastes just like coffee. If I use coffee creamer and sugar, I can taste the Snickerdoodle flavor. So like all these flavored coffees I get from the coffee shop I go to, if I use coffee creamer and sugar, I can actually taste the flavor
Really?
of what the flavored bean is. But if I'm just using creamer,
But, I mean, those are flavored beans. That's different. Now, the ones that are grown in different fields to get this
Yeah, I don't
hint
know.
of this or that, I've never. Heidi Wright ran Aroma. She is the original owner of Aromas,
Mm-hmm.
and she would have all these different coffees and all these different flavors, and but they weren't. It wasn't flavored coffee. It was where they were grown,
Uh-huh.
and it was supposed to give you a different aftertaste, I guess.
Right.
I'm obviously not educated enough to get any of that. I taste coffee.
well, you grew up in Wisconsin, so.
So what the hell do I know?
So yeah, I mean, obviously everybody's taste buds are different in how they do things. My mom, last I knew, she was using like a generic, I don't know, like a Splenda, not a real sugar, sometimes honey or whatever to sweeten up her coffee. And I tried it that one time and thought I was gonna throw up in my mouth. I did not care for that flavor at all. But I have noticed that, and that if I use just a coffee creamer instead of half and half and sugar, I can actually taste the intended flavor of the coffee. But just to drink it black or drink it with just half and half, it just tastes like coffee to me. So
It doesn't.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I've tried that kind of stuff, and I can taste it without any creamer or sugar,
Mhm.
but it's very. I don't want to say subtle, because I didn't like the flavor.
Right.
I could taste it, but it kind of left a dry taste in the back of my mouth. I'm not a fan. I'd rather just give me coffee,
Yeah.
strong coffee.
We're going to move on from the flavored coffee and touch on a couple news headlines here today. This one I found pretty entertaining. I may have shared this on my personal page. I'm not sure. Joe, did you see where men find magic fridge full of ice cold beer in flooded Nebraska field? Have you seen this?
No, I didn't.
Maybe I shared that on Twitter. I can't remember where I found the article, but Kyle Simpson and Galen Stauffer were cleaning up after the devastating floods recently in Nebraska when they spotted a small black box in the distance. It was sitting there in a dark contrast and wet and muddy field. Curious, they walked over to the box, untangled it from the soggy brush, and realized it was a refrigerator. When they opened it, they found a stack full of Busch Light beers.
And they closed it and they left, right?
Well,
Called the authorities.
no one knows where this mysterious refrigerator came from. It was still cold, and it was full, you can kind of see there, of Beer. I mean,
How did it
looks
stay,
like a mini fridge, maybe.
How did it stay cold?
I don't know.
Did they plug it into that tree?
I don't know if the water carried it there from somebody else's garage or I don't know.
It was Busch Light, right?
I mean, it's still disgusting beer, but it's beer,
It
right?
was
free
free-
beer,
free beer.
And if you live amongst the what is that, the Husker State, Nebraska, that's probably pretty exciting to have a refrigerator. It's like more exciting than the gold at the pot of gold in the pot at the end of a rainbow. You know, a fridge full of beer.
No, it was Busch Light.
Well, you know, they're still classified as a beer.
Since I've had a job, I have never drank Busch Light.
Busch Light and Natty Light, they're like a 1A and 1B and the worst tasting things I've ever had. Did you see this headline? I believe it was maybe a week or so ago, where a lot of famous celebrities were arrested in Los Angeles over the college admission scam.
Yes,
So one of the most
Aunt Becky.
Aunt Becky,
You're
right?
gonna
So
bring up
full
Aunt Becky in
Full
here.
House,
Right.
Who doesn't know what Full House is? That was probably the most popular comedy back in the 90s. There is a reboot of it now, strictly streaming on Netflix, called Fuller House, where the Tanner kids are now raising families of their own in the same house. It's still every bit as cheesy as the 90s one, but I still get a kick out of watching it, especially with little Riley. She loves that show. So I used to watch Full House with my mom on what was that on ABC? TGIF, I think. I believe that was what they had that, and the one with Steve Urkel on it. Family Matters. Did you ever watch that
Oh,
one?
I
Yeah.
did. Well, my kids watch.
Yeah.
You always watch what your kids watch.
Right. So, anyway, that's been rebooted, and she wasn't a full-time cast member in there. A lot of like her and John Stamos and Dave Coulier and Bob Saget, the ones that were kind of doing the raising, they just pop in on guest spots on the show. It's more wrapped around the DJ Tanner and Stephanie Tanner and
Right.
raising their kids now. But she did pop up on several episodes. I'm not sure how many seasons they've had now.
She
but
looks the same, doesn't she?
she does. Maybe she sold her soul to the devil. She didn't, though. She sold her soul to the University of Southern California, USC, out on the West
She
Coast.
did.
So it kills me that they basically, her and a handful of other people. She's 54 years old, by the way. You cannot tell she's 54 by looking at her. But she, along with a lot of other people, had paid, the one she was accused of, had paid $500,000 to USC, saying that her daughter, Olivia Jade, was part of the rowing team, when that, in fact, is not true. She has since been picked up, arrested, and bonded out. Like I said, this article is from last week.
And I saw an interview with that kid. She didn't even want to go to college.
Yeah, and I've seen some flack where the kid's devastated that her, obviously this is all blowing up, and that's got to be hard for 17, 18-year-old kid to see that, obviously she grew up in the public's eye a little bit anyway with who her
Right.
mom was, and now this is being thrown in her face, and
Well, like I said, she said, "Well, school's not really for me," and she's
Right.
talking about this other career, and she obviously couldn't get into USC on her own merits, right?
well, she was quoted apparently as of last year on her. I guess she's got a popular YouTube page. I don't know who her daughter is. I'm not familiar
I
with her,
don't
but
know her name.
I guess she's got a popular YouTube channel where she said she was only interested in attending college for going to the parties.
Yeah,
Obviously, I believe USC would probably be a great place to go for that.
and how much did that cost her mom so she could go to parties?
$500,000.
$500,000.
That doesn't count whatever the astronomical fee was for her to bond out, which was probably stupid money. As
Well,
well,
and
so.
and then there was also tuition,
Yeah.
wasn't there?
So I don't know if they got that far or not. They were just trying to buy her way in and say she's part of, and of all the things to be part of, the rowing team. I don't know.
I don't understand. Just for the prestige to say that you went there.
To USC, I mean, to me,
I
that's
don't-
not prestige. Go Irish. If you're gonna go big. Okay. USC. Give me a break. Just touch on that article just a little bit more. There was a response. There was a tweet put out by your favorite rap artist, Dr. Dre. Joe. He has now since deleted that tweet. However, he took to, or I'm sorry, it was on Instagram. And I believe this was on last Sunday. His daughter was accepted into USC, and he kind of threw some shade at the celebrities that
Had to pay.
were
to
trying
get
to
their
pay to
kids,
get their kids
right.
in. He had a picture on there that said, "My daughter got accepted into USC all on her own," and with the in quotation he put hashtag no jail time.
I don't know who Dr. Dre is, but
He was a huge rapper back in, I think, the 90s, early 2000s. I'm sure he's probably still putting stuff out there, but I'm not sure what it would be at this point in time. My rap days are kind of over. But anyway, it was, I guess he caught a lot of flack for it. And so he decided to go ahead and take
why?
that down.
That's funny.
It is
That
funny.
is fun.
It is funny.
They're, oh, get over yourselves.
Here's one that might touch close to home to you. Why a lack of sleep can cause early death, cancer, strokes, and more, according to studies. Are you sleep deprived, Joe?
No.
Have you suffered any of these symptoms in the headline?
Perhaps I've suffered a couple.
I'm not sure why this is. I mean, this was just posted. I just saw this today. I don't recall which news site it came across, but basically the effects of sleep deprivation can have serious consequences on your health. No kidding. Lack of sleep can cause weight gain, high blood pressure, heart disease, mood swings, and it can also make you sick on a regular basis and lead to premature death. Most people need between 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night.
Wait, a night?
A night.
Oh, I thought that was for a week.
What do you get a night?
That would be what I get a week.
Yeah.
That's probably not good. It's going to get better.
I don't know where these, especially if you have, like in your case, you've got a business where you have to get up in the middle of the night to
Right.
start getting things going, or, your kids are all grown now. I've still got 4 at home, and I just can't wrap my head around how any parent that's got kids at home can even fathom getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep at night.
You can't anyway, can you?
No.
Didn't you say that? I've texted you at 4 o'clock in the morning before. I said, I know you're awake.
Right. I mean, my sleep, I used to be a really good sleeper when I was younger. I could sleep through anything, everything. A funny story, I guess it's not funny. A story I like to tell people is when I was as a kid, my father is a retired police officer, and he had arrested this guy. This was back in the 80s, I guess, now, but he had arrested a guy, and he'd gotten out of jail and found out where we lived. And my dad, my mom and dad's cars, they were parked on the street at this house. There was no garage or anything at that time. And my bedroom window kind of faced the street. It was facing the street. We had a small yard and all that. And this guy had gotten out of jail, figured out where we lived, and found my dad's car and set it on fire, which was right outside my bedroom window. So there's this big, fire right outside my bedroom window, fire trucks, police cars, all that good stuff, and I didn't have any idea. And I woke up the next morning. Well, where's Dad's car? I don't know what my parents told me at that point in time. I'm sure it was some fabricated story, but I kind of learned that much later on. That I slept through quite a traumatic experience.
Wait, didn't you start this out with, I have a funny story?
Well, it's kind of funny looking back at it now. I mean,
I don't really see how that's.
It wouldn't have been funny back then.
It doesn't seem funny now. It really doesn't.
But it's things like that. Based on what I do, my kids have been brought up to be very cautious of. Yeah, I know they think I'm a pain in their butt, and I am. But it's because of things like that, especially in today. It's even easier now for people to figure out, where you live and who your family is and stuff.
What happened? What happened to that guy?
I assume he went back to jail.
How did you find out it was him? How did they prove it?
I would have to ask my dad again. It's been so long since I heard the story.
What an idiot!
He probably just copped to it, if I had to guess.
Idiot.
But yeah, I mean, that's part of the dangers of the job is even more than worrying about myself. Obviously, I worry about my wife and kids. And,
right.
Sarah, she's always cautious based on what she does for a living, and she's a nurse, and every once in a while she's like, well, hey, are you married to Lee? And then I can see the look in her eyes. It's like, is this going to be a good thing or a bad thing?
My wife goes through that same thing.
And now it's not so much, oh, you're married to Lee the cop, you're married to Lee the idiot in the donut videos and the podcast. So,
but that's better.
It is. So, but yeah, when you're in law enforcement, you definitely have to be careful with who you associate yourself with and give your information to. That's for sure. So, here's another article, Joe. Your boo thing, Jennifer Lopez. You like you some J-Lo?
My love don't cost a thing.
I know who that is, though.
You know who that is.
Yeah.
So, Jennifer Lopez was quoted. She was talking to a 29-year-old social media manager, Maurice, whoever that is.
Maurice.
who was upset about something. This happened on Tinder, which is a dating site or something. I don't know, but J-Lo is quoted as saying that men are completely useless until they are at least 33 years of age or older.
I tell young girls that all the time.
That you're
That-
useless until you're 33.
Boys, we are a dumb breed, and I don't know what it is, but I was probably about 32. I woke up one day. I pulled my head out of my ass, and all of a sudden I realized how selfish and what a jerk I've been my whole life.
Right.
And I don't know why all of a sudden everything was so apparent. I spent the next year apologizing to everybody, and I've tried to make up for that ever since.
Yeah, you know Joe's right. The hope anyway would be as you get older is that you would mature and you would grow up a little bit, man or woman, either one, boy, girl, whatever. And this does not apply to the people that don't know what in the hell they are, because I don't know how to help you out with this. This is what
Oh
we're
boy,
talking
that
about
could
now.
be a whole other subject.
But
Isn't it?
you know, I look back now at how I behaved when I was younger. You know, a teenager, even in my 20s, especially in my 20s, and man, like if I could go back in time and just punch myself in the face.
Yes.
But then you see it now with younger generation, and and I'm sure you saw it when your kids when you're growing up, and you just look at them and think, how freaking dense can you be? How can you not see the problem here? And obviously when you're 16, 17, 18, in your 20s, whatever, you think you have all the answers to everything in the world, and the reality is you don't know your head from your ass, right?
Well,
You-
I've been very fortunate. My kids really haven't gone through that. I mean, they had a couple years in their teenage years that were rebellious.
Right.
But now my son, he's going to turn 19, gosh, in a couple days. He's never gone through any of that stuff. Always been very cerebral, and yeah, I've been very fortunate. But I remember raising the kids and telling them
Right.
about me and all this stupid crap I did, and I said, don't be me,
Right.
be your mother.
So it is what it is. I remember being younger, and I remember the eye rolls I probably gave my parents or behind their backs and things that I might say when I was frustrated and when I didn't get my way. And now I'm kind of living through that with some of my kids, and it's funny because they think that they have these grand ideas to where they can get away with something mischievous or whatever. And
you've already been
I
there.
played that game 20 years ago. You're not going to get this over on me. And unfortunately for my kids, I'm tech savvy, so all the games they like to try and play with their phones and their social media and stuff, I've got ways around that, obviously. So they may get away with it for a little bit, but it won't be forever, just like
Right.
anything else. So they definitely keep you on your toes, that's for sure. But just kids. I know you think your parents are old and stupid and that they were teenagers like 110 years ago, and like they just don't understand like the way like things like work now, but they do. So listen to your mom and dad. It'll save everybody a lot of heartache, and especially headaches and migraines as time goes on. So you big McDonald's fan, Joe?
I respect the people that work at McDonald's. I'll say that.
Have you seen these? I've seen them in some McDonald's restaurants. These basically they're almost phasing out their cashiers now. So they've got
I've
these
heard
touch
that they
screens in
have.
the store.
Right,
where
I've heard that.
You touch the screen and then you make your orders, and so they can get sent to the back and get screwed up back there. So
As long as somebody can screw it up.
as long as somebody can screw it up. So recent study. I'm not sure why this is breaking news. It doesn't surprise me at all. If you've ever used a restroom at not just McDonald's, but basically any fast food place, they're usually pretty disgusting. At least in the men's rooms, they're more often than not. Guys are disgusting. Are they
Well,
not?
yeah. We're stupid and disgusting.
So seriously, man, if the urinal's not available, at least lift the lid. There's no reason
Why
to.
can't they lift
It's
the lid?
disgusting.
It is.
There should not be puddles on the lid and the floor and the walls and.
No, how can you miss a urinal?
Anyway,
And yet I see
we're getting off topic here.
Okay.
The study finds that fecal matter on McDonald's touchscreens have recently put people in the hospital. The Metro newspaper.
What are they using to touch the screen?
Well, here I'll touch on the article here for you. What's your hand? Yeah. So basically, they're going to the restroom, not
Right.
washing their hands, and
How'd they get poop on their hands?
Well, guys are disgusting creatures. I don't know what a women's restroom looks like. I'm not into that whole transgender. I'm going into whatever bathroom I feel like thing. But
Well, perhaps it would be cleaner.
maybe it would. I don't know. But
Maybe you should think about that.
basically, these researchers in Britain have just tested these touch screens at eight different McDonald's locations and found fecal bacteria on every single one of them. In the cases where they've tested some of these in London, 6 in London, 2 in Birmingham, and they found enough bacterial matter to put everyone in the hospital that has touched it. That's disgusting.
Well, I mean, if they test your money, don't they find that kind of stuff on your money too?
Yeah, I mean, people are so weird about germs. It was when we were growing up, there was no such thing as hand sanitizer.
No,
and
I won't.
drink
I
it out
won't
of the
use
garden
it.
hose was okay,
Oh, yeah.
and everything like that. But basically, their research is saying that when you get near these machines, it starts around your nose. So if you touch this touch screen, then you scratch your nose or sniff your fingers or whatever you're into. That's where it
Sniff the
starts.
screen.
Basically, these come into staph infections, and it's deadly in places like Africa where it can go into like a toxic shock. I didn't know they had McDonald's in Africa. I guess they're everywhere, but
Yeah.
so I guess if you got to use these screens, I've never been in one of these McDonald's where if they had the screen where you still couldn't go to the counter and place your order.
Right.
But with that being said, it's still no different. You still everywhere you go. I know you're not huge on using debit cards and stuff, but most people nowadays
I don't have a debit card.
most people, that's how they pay for stuff now.
Right.
They swipe their card or you can even use your phone. Well, I don't know. You probably can't use that thing you got over there, but
I think I can.
you can. In most cases, you can store your credit card, your debit card information on your phone and use those even to
Right.
just set it near the card reader and boom,
Right.
off you go. So, but.
Hey,
Even if you don't, and you swipe your card or you have the chip and you put it in there and you got to type in your PIN code or whatever, how filthy are those things?
Yeah.
And another thing that I don't think people think about is, 15, 20 years ago, most people would if they're going to go relax in the bathroom, they would take a newspaper or a magazine or something like that. Now most people take their phones, right? So how dirty is even your own phone?
Right.
Just being in the bathroom.
Well, they say a phone is one of the dirtiest things you
I
can.
have no doubt that it is, and especially with all the younger generation taking all their selfies in these disgusting bathrooms.
Why do they do that?
I don't know. I don't get it. It's weird.
But I do have a shout out. Real. I had to go to Indianapolis the other day, and we just wanted to get a bite before my appointment, and we got off the highway. Went to a Chick-fil-A. I've never been to a
Oh,
Chick-fil-A.
I love Chick-fil-A.
And we get there, and there is a line. I shit you not. There is a line to get into the line
Mhm.
to get through the drive-through.
Right.
I'm just a small town guy, okay? Kathy was driving because she's very comfortable driving in Indy, and I said, this is stupid. We don't have this kind of time.
Mhm.
But the line was moving really fast.
Right.
I thought, wow, I don't know how they're doing that. I said, well, I'll tell you what, just let me go inside and I'll see if. So she drops me off. I go inside, and it takes me a while to get acclimated enough to figure out where the hell the counter is. I get up there, there's 10 million people, and everyone's so nice. And some lady could see me kind of looking around. She said, oh, that register over there is open. I said, oh, okay, thank you. So I go up there. There's a million people behind me already, so I just ordered something real quick. And the lady is very personable, and she we made some small talk there. I said something about, wow, I can't believe how busy this is. And she laughed. She said, this is a downtime.
Right.
And I said, you've got to be kidding. She said, oh, no, we have complete lines coming out of here. I said, I thought there was a line. So I placed my order, I pay her, I have the ticket, and I'm thinking, I'm going to give her about 5 minutes, and we got to go because I have an appointment to make. And I'll be damned, it wasn't 2 minutes later, they call my name, get my stuff. Everything in the bag is correct.
So Sarah and I have actually talked about this quite a bit. Obviously with, we still have 4 kids in school, and 3 of the 4 are involved in extracurricular activities, and that keeps us running.
And then Riley's in jail, isn't she?
She's in juvie.
Okay.
And no.
We're just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she's only she's just still a little tyke, but she's big time into like doing the tumbling and cheerleading and stuff like that. So with her and McKenna, she's my sixth grader. She's into cheerleading, and my oldest daughter is into volleyball and track. And obviously, they like to attend basketball games and football games. I mean, I feel like we're on the go all of the time. And what were we talking about?
I don't know.
I've done lost my train of thought.
That's all right.
This is what this vacation. Yeah, I need a
Ran
vacation
from
from my vacation.
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
Yes.
So anyway, we were.
They say the first thing to go.
Is the mind. It's because I don't get that 7 to 8 hours of sleep at night. So,
Ah.
so anyway, we have talked about Chick-fil-A, and it's amazing. Joe's right. It doesn't matter which one I've ever been to. We've been to lots of them, all different parts of the country when we go on vacations and stuff. And every single one of them is the way you're describing.
And they must train them. They're all smiling.
Right.
And there was such a diverse group in there.
And they
They're
serve
black
you.
and white,
Right.
Latino. Everything, and everyone is smiling. They're happy. They're pleasant, which in turn made the customers smiling and happy
Right.
and pleasant. And it was a very nice experience.
But Joe's right. It's amazing. Everybody, in my opinion, every fast food restaurant in this world, for that matter, should follow their business model for how they pump out food. Because he's right. It doesn't matter if you're waiting in the line to get into the line. It doesn't matter if it's wrapped around the outside of the parking lot or wrapped around throughout the inside of the restaurant. They push people through there in no time flat. And your food is correct, and it's fresh, and it's good. If you like chicken, you should love Chick-fil-A because it's a good sandwich.
The efficiency. I'm watching. Being a business owner, you watch all this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm watching the kitchen. It's a machine. I don't know how you would possibly get trained in, because you would throw a cog in there. I mean, I don't.
Well, and that's been a long time since I've looked at it. But we stopped at the one there in like the Carmel Westfield area.
That's the one I was at.
Yeah, that because we're down that way quite a bit, and you're right. It's crazy all the time when you go down there. And one time they were advertising like a hiring. I don't know, like a come in for open interviews or something like that. But their starting pay was crazy to me. I want to say it was like around $15 an hour to start
Wow.
to work at Chick-fil-A. But I mean, with that being said, these people, they work hard because
Yeah.
they're moving all of the time.
Right.
Everybody's got certain jobs that they do. There's always more than one manager in there too, because you can see that they're in different colored shirts, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
And they just keep things running and running and running. And if you go there early morning for breakfast, it's not quite as bad, but you're right, you go there for lunchtime, dinner time, it is off the chain crazy busy.
It had to be 1:30. I thought, well, it can't be that bad.
Right,
1:30, but I was well, like the girl said, she said it wasn't busy.
Right. But anyway, yeah, if you guys like chicken, definitely check out Chick-fil-A if you haven't been there before, and you shouldn't be disappointed with your customer service or your food, either one. One more article I wanted to touch on here today, Joe. I found this quite hilarious. This was published just yesterday. A naked man tries to board a plane, claiming nudity makes him more aerodynamic.
Oh,
How do you feel about that?
well, I don't want him sitting next to me. Was he flying or was the plane flying? What was his thought process there?
He was going to be boarding a flight. I believe this was in the UK somewhere, but he claimed that his clothes impaired him aerodynamically, and that the plane was wearing. He was obviously a little insane because he thought that the plane acted more as like a parka, so he wanted to try and I guess put a little less weight on the plane there.
That was awfully good of him.
I apologize. This was in Moscow. He was trying to board a plane in Moscow, destined for Crimea. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And in the video, he can be seen standing brazenly in the line, fully clothed, bewildering passengers with his behavior. Then it shows him getting in the line stark naked, covering his private parts. So that was nice of him.
That was nice.
Calmly waiting for his turn as others passed the check-in. In the end, it was not clear what he had in mind, but he did move this sign in the fashion of a cross as the line moved forward. He must be a religious fella.
I'm sure God
Went
was
through
proud.
as he was going through registration. He started throwing off all of his things, his bag, stripped naked, and ran. He was eventually detained when landing and managed to run. He broke through the ramp and he was detained further. So apparently he was tackled while he was naked.
How would you like to
slithered
be
away.
the policeman that had to tackle the naked guy?
Unfortunately, I've been there before. That is not a fun experience.
Yeah. Speaking of Moscow, speaking of Russia,
Mm-hmm.
did you hear?
Did I hear what?
Apparently, President Trump did not have collusion with the Russians.
Duh.
Well, that can't be because the media said that he did.
Oh, well, you're.
And by the media, I mean everyone except Fox News.
But you know, I read something yesterday I thought was very funny because it was absolutely true. First, he went off, said, you know what a waste of time, what a waste of money with this witch hunt. It
Right.
was incredibly stupid. And even I have a friend that's very liberal, and he even said this was the dumbest thing he'd ever seen because he said honestly, by the time it was all said and done, let's say there was some sort of collusion, by the time he was impeached because he wouldn't have resigned, his term would have been over anyway. But what this guy said was, after he went off about how stupid he was, how stupid the whole thing was, he said, now, the Republicans would have done the same thing. Had Hillary got in there,
Mhm.
it'd have been the same thing. They'd have done the same stupid thing, wasted all that time, all that money, instead of focusing their time and money and energy on things to make the country better. They're so hell-bent on getting rid of the president because he wasn't who they wanted. They assholes.
So it's, no matter which side of the fence you sit on, and there's even been Democratic figureheads that have come out since this finding was released within the last day or two, that admitted that this, quote unquote witch hunt was a giant waste of time and money. And why are we not trying to, whether you like the president or not is irrelevant. Why is this particular party spending so much time, effort, energy, and money into trying to, get him out of there instead of, you're right, trying to make a difference to better the country?
Well, just a few
And-
years ago, we had the whole thing with Clinton and Lewinsky.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Right.
And the Republicans went on and on and on and on. I did not give a rat's ass about it. Just let it go.
It's crying over spilt milk, right? I mean,
it was between Clinton, Lewinsky, and his wife, and they could sort that crap out. It had nothing to do with the country. That was stupid.
and at the end of the day, what's it do? It just makes us look weaker in other countries' eyes, right?
Right.
And
Right. Well, it provided us with really good shirts and mugs.
so Joe does have a playoff of the whole Monica Lewinsky thing. You can get if you follow him on the DeRoger's Bakery page or his personal page, you can order those things. But by the way, I probably shouldn't have ordered that as a shirt because I keep getting 110 questions from Austin. What does that mean? What does that mean?
It's a shirt. It's a picture of me standing next to Monica Lewinsky, and she's holding a long john, I believe. And the quote underneath says, "I did not put jelly in that donut."
What does that mean?
I'm not really sure. It means I didn't fill the donut. It's an unfilled long john.
That's
what
what I
I'm
tell
trying
him,
to
but
say.
that's not an answer that he's looking for. I don't think so.
Yeah, he knows what that means. He just wants you to say it.
Nevertheless, it's not like anything. If you go back to Clinton or go back to when Kennedy was having his affair with Marilyn Monroe, which that one actually makes sense. I didn't get the whole Monica thing, but I guess if your options are Monica or Hillary,
Yeah, she's well, I won't say it.
Anyway, that's the sad thing to me about no matter who, whether it's a Democrat in the office or a Republican, why do you spend so much time glorifying their faults? If they're running around on their spouse, is it right? No, it's not. But if
It's none of our damn business.
it's none of your business. It's no different than if your neighbor's having an affair or someone in your family.
Unless it's an affair with your wife.
Yeah, then it's a problem.
Then-
but that's
you
the
can
point.
say
That's the point I'm
something
trying to
then.
make, though. It's not like that's a rare occurrence. It never happens. This happens in every town, in every state,
Oh, yeah.
all across the world, every day.
Well, and like Jeremiah was telling me, going back to the whole Russian collusion thing, he said every politician is dirty. Every
Right.
politician is doing something they shouldn't be doing.
Right.
And if we're gonna, it's a necessary evil. Apparently, we can't seem to get away from it. we can't focus on it. We got to focus on them doing good things, and both parties need to work together.
Right. You know, and I've seen a lot of these things, you know, popping up. Obviously, people are really passionate about politics, probably more now than they've ever been.
Yes.
And I get so sick of seeing it, you know, and that's part of the reason we started this is we just get, and obviously we're going to touch on it and stuff, all the popular news headlines and things, but I get so sick of just seeing people and their negativity when it comes to all the political stuff. I enjoy the funny memes, and,
Yes.
and I don't care if it's making fun of Trump or Clinton or Bernie or the crazy one. Even the Democrats make fun of. But it
Can't even remember her name, can we?
Cortez.
Oh,
what is it?
that because I told you about that meme earlier. What somebody put out there is hilarious.
So yeah, they're all funny. You know, lighten up, man.
It's just funny.
It's just funny.
We can't do anything about it. We can't fix anything. So just laugh
People don't know how to laugh anymore.
until election time, and then vote for me.
That's right, DeRozier 2020.
That's right.
So anything else you'd like to touch on base here, Joe, before we wrap things up to this week?
Let's see. You really haven't made fun of my cats. You haven't made fun of.
Well, it's because my eyes are starting to swell shut since they've been up on the table for half this podcast today. I'm going to start taking shots before I come over here. So. Okay, folks. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up today. We appreciate you sticking with us again. We did start a live video. I'm not sure how that came across. We've only done that 2 times now. So for those of you that didn't catch the live video, we are now getting closer and closer to being more of a traditional podcast. You can now find our show at TuneIn Radio. So whether you use an iPhone or an Android, you can download that from your respective app store. Just type in Mornings in the Kitchen with a Doe and 5-0, and you can subscribe to it from there. We're also now live on Stitcher, which is a popular podcasting platform as well. Same thing, just type in Mornings in the Kitchen with a Doe and 5-0, and you can subscribe to the podcast from there. Episode 1 is on both of those platforms as we speak today. Once we get live on Apple Podcast, all of the back episodes will be on there, and all future episodes will be on there. We'll keep everybody posted on that stuff on all of our social media platforms. So basically, once everything is live on those 3 platforms especially, that's where you're going to start getting the podcast as it's meant to be, okay? Things have been a little slow moving, unfortunately, and we've done it. It was more of a video platform, so you're accessing these on both either Facebook or YouTube right now. Once we're live on the traditional listening platforms, we won't be doing that anymore. We may post the links for them on there, but we won't be posting the videos anymore because those take a lot more time to edit and get uploaded. So just stick with us. We're getting closer and closer. Don't forget that you can also find us online at doen50.com. You'll find a lot of video content on there and the links to the podcasting sites on there as well. So
Hey, on that website, I saw that they had quite a few of those videos, but didn't have all of them. Are they all going to be on there? Are they all in there now? I haven't checked for a few days.
I believe that, I guess when you say all, not every single donut video that we did, that I did, was on there. I just put the ones that you and I collaborated on together.
I didn't see Scooby.
Scooby, I would have
Was
to
it
get
on there?
I'd have to get on there
Maybe
and look,
I just
guess.
missed it. I love the Scooby one. Scooby and Dirty Harry are my favorite.
So, yeah, I assume...
And anything ending with me throwing donuts at Lee.
That's, for those of you that weren't familiar with that, just get on there at doen50.com, and you'll see a lot of the goofy videos Joe and I did. That's kind of where everything started working for us. But we'll have more video content on there as well in the future. We're getting closer and closer, like I said, to getting everything online as far as both the videos and the green screen and the traditional podcasting links as well. So hopefully within the next week or 2, everything will be good to go, and then we might start considering doing a live stream of the podcast in the future too. So stick with us, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
1, 2, 3, 4. La la la.